We've heard from Mikey a few times, but what do you feel has kind of not gone right for the team over these past 5 to 7 matches?
Yeah, of course it's been a tough period for us without getting the points that we want. I think some games has been decent play, not getting results. Other games has been not good enough and not the level that we want to play. I think we took a big step last week, even though we ended up losing the game. But especially first half, we looked ourselves again. So there are still small aspects in the game, managing the last part of the game and so on that needs to be better, and we need to do it for a full game and not just for a half, but slowly taking some steps in the right directions.
I know in soccer rivalries sometimes have developed over like decades or centuries, but LAFC, very close team, fans seem to get into it. Do you guys feel a rivalry yet with this team or any team?
Yeah, it's fun to get that going. I think it started early on last season. So even though it's still very new, we're close to each other. Yeah, fans are going, traveling for the games and so on. So you feel there's a little bit extra in those games.
In this latest stretch, it's been difficult. It hasn't been one thing. It's one night the offense is there and the defense is, and next night the defense is there and the offense is, and they're giving up a late goal. Is it more frustrating when there's not really one aspect of the game you can kind of point to and say, if we fix this, we'll be okay?
Yeah, and that's what I think also we've been talking about a little bit. It's been some personal mistakes in some games, some defensive, offensive, midfield line, and so on. It's been a wide range of different mistakes that we usually haven't been doing. So our game hasn't been connected and work closely together. So that's something that again I think we looked way better first half against Portland, losing some intensity and focus second half. But the way that we played that first half was with intensity, tempo, creating more chances and so on. So we need to take that with us.
The winless streak goes back to the trip to Toluca. Is it too simplistic to say something happened there, the team hasn't recovered, or somebody else saw a tactical advantage that they were using against you that they have now been employing since?
I think that was Toluca, of course, is a very good team, and we have been also there's been injuries and some red cards and so on, like a big rotation. I don't think that game particularly was the one changing too much. So again, there's been different aspects that's been affecting also, but still we need and should be better to keep a consistent level. And I think in some games we haven't really hit that, but I see improvement the last couple of games.
Marcus, do you feel like sometimes the ball just isn't bouncing your way? They get a late goal and then you guys absolutely come down and pepper them on the other side and have multiple opportunities and the ball just doesn't find a way in. And it seems not only with that, but sometimes those red cards, just weird calls, things of that nature. Does it feel like things just kind of aren't bouncing your way?
Yeah, you can say, but we also we don't want to use that too much of an excuse. We have had a lot of red cards and some situations where we could have scored, wanted to have scored, and so on. But all in all, the full performance doing 90 minutes, hasn't been good enough in some of the games, and that's what we have been focusing on, like stabilizing that, getting a more complete full match, and so on.
Is there any advantage to playing a team that plays like a Saturday or Wednesday, having to play Saturday again, and then a following Wednesday as they're going through CONCACAF Champions Cup and MLS, where you guys just, had a week off now?
Yes and no. I think as a player, some thrive in doing like 3 games a week, and some are struggling a little bit more. And it's also what kind of momentum you are in as a team. Of course, you can say we should be more fresh, but I don't think you can give that specific for every single team.
Marcus, Marshall, 760 Sports. I like the adage of you win or you don't lose, you win or learn. So what's the positive aspect you have mentally to learn through this adversity that you guys are going through as a team, individually and collectively as a team, to move forward in a positive direction?
Yeah, it's the first time we as a team has been in this tough situation, and probably also for a lot of the younger guys playing the first or some of the first professional seasons. So there's a lot of mental to it. Going 5, 6, 7 games without winning, struggling in some personal stuff, and not finding your game. So it's a big mental learning for all of us, but also as a team, like how do we react when we have a training week, meetings and so on. So definitely a lot to take with us.
During this stretch, Marcus, for the strikers, how do you fight the temptation to chase goals against letting the game come to you?
Again?
Like, how do you fight the temptation to chase goals to stretch? It's been an adverse stretch. So instead of going out there and forcing it, how do you stay aggressive within your offense, but not chase the goals and still let the match come to you?
Yeah, you need to be patient sometimes, and I think we'll still created moments where we could have scored more goals, but we also want to set ourselves as a team into situations where people get the chance to score. So it's, as for me as a striker, it's also about letting phase 1 and 2 happen sometimes to be in the right position later in the game, and of course that pacing can be tough sometimes when the first phase or 2 is not really working out build up. So it's a tough balance, also depending on the opponent. But I think we all know how we want to play and how we should play, and I'm sure that connection will be seen very soon again.
You guys are still dominating possession. Is there something specific you notice about the stretch, the last 5 MLS matches, as opposed to the beginning stretch where you guys were able to kind of strike early and often?
Yeah, I think we had a couple of games, especially early in the games and early second half. We've been really good coming out with a lot of energy. I think our start of the games, Salt Lake, etc., was we haven't been started with the same energy and power as we normally do, and a lot of games we've been taking control immediately within the first 15 minutes. That part has been missing. And then the longer we come into the game, that focus, energy, whatever, drops a little bit, and we haven't been able to manage the different games. So I think it's important that we remember how good we normally is in starting the game good, starting second half good, and I think that's one of our very big strengths.
Any more questions in person?
You mentioned patience. How hard is patience to have when you know what you can do and you want to press it, but you kind of have to let things settle in at the same time, especially when things aren't going well, to not just want to be like, I'm going to grab this by the tail and do what I want with it instead of allowing it to happen naturally?
Yeah, it is a difficult balance, because if I drop too low, I will also not be in scoring positions. So I think as the 3 or 4 offensive players on the last line or within the pockets, we need to keep our positions more or less. Then some games there will be some rotations within our 8s and number 10s and so on that can rotate a little bit, but we need guys in the box also. That's where the most goals get scored, and of course it needs to get up there first, but I don't think it will help our game if too many players drop too much. So it's important that you always have 1 or 2 guys on the last line.
We'll go to questions in Zoom. Go ahead, Charles.
Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for your time. I have 2 questions. The first is, MLS teams often experience what they call a CONCACAF Champions Cup hangover, where it's difficult maybe to regain form after playing in that tournament. Do you feel that was a factor?
Yeah, as I said, I think we played a good team. I think we, especially in those first 2 look a game, red cards, in that period. A lot of rotation happened in that period. We haven't had the width of the squad and so on. So I think there's a lot of aspects going into that. I don't think the 3 games a week is is the only reason for this period coming afterwards.
And I also wondered if you see anything different from your league opponents. Is it possible that maybe there's some scouting happening, or teams are accruing like a video on you guys and approaching you your tactics differently?
Yeah, of course. I think we have been facing a little bit more man-v-man high pressure, which we in the first 3 games of the season was able to manage really well. We scored a lot of goals in those matches and really took care of that. Again, I think it's more our level that has been dropping a little bit. We haven't been able to fix that first line of pressure. Because we did that for the first 3 games, and then we have been struggling in the team connection, individual mistakes, and so on for a longer period now. So I think, of course, normally what I've experienced also from playing in Denmark, the same playing style from the FC Nordsjælland and Right to Dream, it's normally something that fits us very well, and I think we saw it in the beginning of the season, but we have been dropping our level.
Big matchup against LAFC this weekend. This year, we're hosting them a little earlier, but kind of expectation out of this match, and how do you see the group going into this match?
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's a big game. I remember from last season it was 2 nice games to play, and it's a competitive game. So it's it's something we're looking forward to, and hopefully with a good result for us.
I know it can take years to build a true rivalry, but do you feel it building due to the proximity and the fans between LAFC?
Yeah, I think it's the closest city to us, and then there's 2 teams in LA that we compete against, and I think it's nice, and that's also why it's maybe a game we're looking forward to as well during the week, and and now it's on Saturday at home, and we're just ready for it, and like I said, want to get a good result.
Marcus said the first half against Portland, you guys started to look like yourselves again a little more. Would you agree with that? And then the second part of that is, how do you now sustain it for long term?
Yeah, I agree with Marcus. I think especially the first 45 an hour was good. I think we tried some of the things we've been doing for a long period with flicks, with runs in behind, combining at the last third. I think we tried a lot, and of course going to halftime with 1-1 was okay, and we went out strong. We scored an early one after the break. Unfortunately, it was offside, but I think we had the momentum, and then hopefully we can maintain that for a longer period, and hopefully the whole game, and not just an hour. So that's something we talked about, how we could do that, and what we could improve in the moments where it was getting tough. So yeah.
Finishing has been a problem for a lot of this year. What leads to that? Do teams just naturally go through droughts sometimes? Is there one maybe specific technique that's not being applied?
Nah, I think it's a thing of confidence and stuff like that. It's all about confidence in football, and I think still we have a lot of confidence in the team. So yeah, now it's just about finding the back of the net and get some goals in. That's what we, especially the strikers, but the whole team are trying to do. It's to create chances for us guys, but also important is to shut down in our end and get a clean sheet. It's something we want to work hard for.
Anders, what do you remember about those matches last year? It felt like they were very up and down, a lot of drama, some high-octane type goals being scored. Do the style of plays between both these teams really set up for those kind of matches?
No, for sure. I think it was great games, and I think LAFC is a great team. We all know that. So I think it's games where it's 90 minutes like everything else, but it's about getting out there strong from the beginning, and then set the tone, and hopefully like the first hour against Portland, we keep it for 90 minutes against LAFC.
Do you feel like it helps when a team has played so many games over a short stretch, like they go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and I know the head coach was complaining about it a little after the match yesterday?
No, for sure it's tough for us physically and mentally as well. It's a lot of travel and stuff like that. It's a little bit different compared to Europe, where over here you have some time zones and stuff like that you have to adapt to. But yeah, it's football, and we know that will be more and more games in the future as well. So it's about staying healthy and be ready for 90 minutes if it's Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. But yeah, that's how it is, and we tried it ourselves this season as well, and yeah, we know how it is.
As a striker during this type of stretch, how do you guys fight the temptation of chasing goals against letting the game come to you?
No, I think it's important that we're not getting frustrated, or we're not getting making it too complicated, because I think last season and still the beginning of this season we did well in the beginning to create chances and be playing with that freedom that we played with for over a year now. So that's of course we want to win games, but it's what we're working on a lot. That's to get that freedom back and just play the style that we know.
What do you think has been missing compared to that opening stretch, like you talked about? You guys were playing more free the last 5 matches. What do you think's been missing?
Yeah, it's tough to say, because if I had the answer, I would change it after one game when we lost the first one. But that's how it is sometimes in football. You maybe overthink, and then you do something you're not used to, and that's a thing we have to get away from and start doing what we've been doing now the last, I think, 1.5 games.
Marcus Marshall with SanDiego.Futbol 760. Last year you guys were the hunters. This year you're the hunted. So as one of the leaders of this team, what are you doing to assist the team to overcome this adversity to start the season?
No, I think it's nice. Then you did something great. When people want to hunt you, it's nice, but it's also new. We're a new team and a lot of new players together, and only for 1 year now, 1.5 years. So of course it's something we have to adapt to, and we have to learn as a team and as a group in the dressing room to learn to try it the opposite way.
This winless streak started with the trip to Toluca. Is it too easy or convenient to say something happened during that trip?
No, I think it's that it was a tough game for sure. I remember the Toluca game, but no, I think it's a tough one. Of course, we want to get some points, and I think Houston away, Portland now at home was normally games where last season we would have maybe 4 or 6 points, but this season it's a little bit more tough, and teams are maybe a little bit more prepared for us.
Is there a thought that all you really need is a win, maybe over a good team like LAFC, and then everything will be fine again?
Yeah, hopefully. I hope that when we get that first win, that it will change something in the team. I know it will. We hoped we could do it against Portland to change it around after a busy period with a lot of games. It didn't happen, but we played better. So yeah, now we of course won the 3 points, and yeah, especially at home.
So I want to know, so Adrian Garcia Marquez calls you El Palatero. So what did your family and friends think of that nickname when people started calling you that? You know, obviously you're not from around here, from overseas, but that's an amazing homage to be given a nickname by somebody like Adrian Garcia Marquez.
No, it's nice, and like you said, I appreciate it so much, and I like it. Also from the fans, I think they support us, and that's something I love so much. It's I know they're also going through a tough time at the moment, but yeah, we try to do our best to make them happy, especially at home, and make them proud of us.
And last question, so the next 5 games are at home. So what message do you have to the fans from Frontier SD about all the 4 home games coming up in May?
Hopefully they show up like they've done the whole, what I can remember since we started back in 2025. I know they will. So yeah, a lot of points.
Yeah, appreciate you. One more Zoom. Go ahead, Eduardo.
Hey, Anders, thank you for your time. It seems like the perfect moment for SanDiego to take advantage of LAFC, having them just played yesterday. What is your message for the team to be able to get that win at home and get the fans really back?
No, yeah, like you said, of course, LAFC have played a lot of games, but sometimes they can also be advantages because they are in shape and they are like ready. Also, when you play every third day, it's tough, yeah, but but it's also nice that you play a lot of games and you don't have to practice so much. But yeah, it's about starting strong, especially against LAFC. We tried that last year in 2 games, so that's something we'll prepare for.
Mikey, you guys are a close-knit group. How does that help navigate a stretch like this?
Oh, it's massive because the most important thing is to stick together, to have convictions for who you are, who you want to be able to be honest with each other in terms of reflections.
After Portland, despite the result, you said you saw progress. What specifically did you see, and has it carried over to this week?
Yeah, I felt like we played with more rhythm. I felt like we were stronger in duels. We controlled the game. So we've had a lot of possession in the season, but I felt like that possession was a bit more vertical. We were getting much more closer to making dangerous situations, and we didn't give up a lot, especially early on. The game did get a little bit out of control, which is something we need to improve. But overall, it was still a step in the right direction.
How do you, during a stretch like this, how do you protect a team's confidence versus demanding more from them?
I think this is what our culture is supposed to be built for. You know, you're supposed to have resiliency based on your values, based on the work that you've put in. We have a lot of hours of hard work in the bank right now. And the important thing is to say, when we give feedback, it's to help us be better. At the same time, we got everybody's backs here, as long as they're good people, as long as they have an open mind, and as long as they compete like beasts.
I know rivalries can take years to build, but do you feel something building due to the proximity of the fans with LAFC?
Yeah, the rivalry is real, and I think if you just think about the games and everything that happened surrounding the games with both LA teams last year, there's no doubt.
There's obviously an argument to be made that really good team, rivals, not who you want to face when in a cold streak. Can the opposite be true? Like, is that exactly maybe what your team needs?
It's a tremendous opportunity for us to take the next step and get back on track.
You had to identify what's led to this winless streak. Feels like one night the offense isn't there, the next night it is, the defense isn't there, or there's just a late game breakdown. Is there one thing you can point to, maybe overarching theme to what's led to some of the frustrations?
There's never one thing, but what I would say is there's a lot of circumstances that have led to it. You know, one, red card situations leading to non-continuity of lineups, injury situations, same idea. Playing a lot of minutes with 10 players, having a shorter preparation in the preseason to get some really basic things fully honed in. Dealing with the disappointment of playing 2 competitions and getting knocked out in a really tough competition. So many things can go into that. Also, the ability to maintain your level with rising expectations based on a season that was put forward last season. But ultimately, what I would say is that last year the team went for every single game. They really left their heart and soul on the field, and a lot of the games went our way. This season, the team is going after every single game. They're leaving their heart and soul, especially in these last matches, on the field every single time, and the results are not going our way. And it's a razor-thin business, and we're feeling the wrong side of the stick right now. But our main focus is to look at it from a details perspective and get back on track, because that's what we owe ourselves, that's what we owe our families, and that's what we owe the fans.
Mikey, is there an advantage when a team plays Wednesday, Saturday, and you guys have had the week off?
Depends on how you look at it. Some people could say the opportunity for them is that they have a lot of rhythm right now and they have a deep squad, so they can manage that well. You could look at it that we've gotten the opportunity to train and to prepare the match. I think in the end, it all evens out in football. Everybody's dealing with something at this point in the season, and our main focus is on bringing a ton of energy, bringing a focus for the 90-plus minutes, making sure we're playing with intensity, and making sure that we have a strong connection on the field so that we give ourselves the best chance of winning the game.
You guys have done the same thing going MLS, CONCACAF, MLS, kind of what LAFC is doing right now. What is it, that time period, like for you all? What's the transition phase, and how does the team feel after a stretch like that?
Of so many games?
Sure.
I think for every team it's a little bit different because it depends on your roster size, what injuries you have, how much road travel, where you travel to. But I know the moment we went through was pretty heavy because we went to altitude twice. We had a short roster because we had some guys that were injured at the time, so we dealt with a red card in going away to Toluca. We dealt with 2 red cards going away to Toluca. And then, so it does take a toll on teams, but everybody's situation and everybody's moment is a little bit different.
Is the plan to ride with Dreyer free again this weekend, or CJ Dos Santos will get a look?
We haven't made final decisions yet on the lineup, but you guys will know.
Mikey, you clearly display unwavering confidence in your team, your culture, your style. Fans don't get to see this, though. They see results. So what do you say to those who are wondering, losing maybe some confidence here over the last month and a half?
What I would say is, thank you for the continued support. Like I said after the game, we really appreciate our fans, and we know that they're very passionate, and we know that they want the best for their city and the club. And what I would say is that what we have never compromised and will never compromise is our effort and dedication to doing our best for them. And right now we know that we're in a tough moment and we haven't been at our best, but we're working really hard to do everything possible to get back to it.
Coach Marshall, SanDiego Sports 760. Last year this time the team was 4-4-2. So this is a game off, but it's a marathon, not a race. So what is you as the head coach, what are you doing to assist the team in going through this adversity, knowing that, hey, we started this last year as an expansion team, and look what we overcome to get ready to finish the season the way you did last year?
Yeah, my responsibility is to make sure that standards are always set at a very, very high level. First, for myself, and that we all take responsibility for what we do every day in terms of preparation to give ourselves the best chance of winning. Next, it's about making sure that in these tough moments we remember who we are, and that we show conviction for who we are and making sure that we do the best that we can. And then it's about making little tactical adjustments to make sure that given our current situation, we're putting the players in the best situation of winning.
What's 1 or 2 players who deserve more recognition thus far to this season that normally aren't getting it?
That normally aren't getting?
Yes. Who's put in the work, practice,
Yeah.
even some game reps, even if it's not a stat.
Yeah.
Who deserves more recognition in your opinion?
I think that we have a tremendous group of guys who, there's not a guy I can think of right now in our group who doesn't come here and absolutely leave everything for the club in the city. But I would say that Anibal Godoy, and I know that he does get credit, I think he's been a really important person in this moment because he's been through a lot, and he's older, right? But you can see in the last 2 games that he really raised the level of his intensity, and I think that sparked something in the group. And I would just say that he's going to be a really important guy going forward.
Last question.
Obviously, you believe that this is going to turn around. How do you preach patience to a group of guys who have trouble being patient because they want to win so quickly and so much?
I don't know if patience is the right word, because we have to want to win every single game, and we have to be gutted anytime we don't get the result. But what I would say is it's about poise. It's about separating the emotion from the analytical of what's actually happening so that we can have honest and worthwhile reflections. And then I think it's about showing conviction, unwavering pursuit of excellence. And you have to do that not only when things are good, you especially have to do that when things are tough.
Is your team doing that right now?
Absolutely.
We'll go to Zoom now. Go ahead, Eduardo.
Hey, Mikey, thank you for your time. This is the first time you go head-to-head with new LAFC head coach. Just your thoughts on the matchup?
Yeah, I think LAFC is a very, very good team, and historically a team that's done well in the league from the beginning, and clearly a regional rivalry. For us, what we know is most important thing is that we play our game to the best of our ability, and then if we can manage well the balls in behind, especially from their right to left and to Bawanga, and we can manage the counterattack transition threat that they have, we give ourselves the best chance.
How frustrating has this stretch been just because you know that you have more quality than has been shown on a consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's been a little tough period for us now where we haven't gotten the results we wanted. Then again, that's football. It happens. We don't want it to happen, but it does. So it's just how quick can we get out of it and start putting good performances, first of all, and then also getting the results is going to come if we get the good performances.
Chris, you're one of those guys who picked up red cards in the recent stretches. When you look back on it, what do you think about it moving forward? How do you prevent stuff from like that from happening?
Yeah, I think a lot of them was very unfortunate, if I have to say myself. Then again, there's a couple yellow cards I got there that, I have to take responsibility for. So if I can clean those up, at least, the unlucky ones maybe don't affect as much. So, yeah. It was tough. I think especially the Minnesota one because it was a little earlier in the game compared to the other two where maybe it didn't really affect the game. But it also means I'm out and I always want to be able to be on the pitch and help the team. So I've been happy to be back out there, and I think the performances have gotten better in the right direction at least. But we still have some things to clean up to get the 3 points with us as well.
Is ejection and suspension too harsh a penalty? Does soccer need to rethink that a little bit?
I mean, it is what it is, and we all know it. So it sucks in the moment, and but it is what it is. It happens. I mean, sometimes refs makes calls that you don't maybe agree with, but it is what it is, and you have to take responsibility for it. So
when things aren't going well, how much can you have a good practice, have a good week of practice leading up, and kind of maybe does that help reset the confidence level to then apply that on match day?
Yeah, I think that's been something I've been really proud of the group. It's the training's been really good. Everyone has been really positive still. Still with the results has been like they've been. Everyone's training hard, putting in the work, and I mean, we've had to rotate a lot as well with the red cards and with some injuries and stuff like that. So I'm feeling like we're getting back into it, and now a lot of the young guys have gotten a lot of opportunities to play as well, and they're getting more into it. So I think it will be good going forward.
In basketball, it's the same. When the shooter isn't going well, they just have to see one go in, and then things can turn. Do you guys have to just kind of like look at the scoreboard at the end and see you're up to have things go, like maybe remind yourself that you can win a game and then go on a run? Yeah,
I think it's that, but also us as defenders, a couple of us that back there is like, can we keep a clean sheet? Maybe that helps to get the spark going again. And I think even last game it was some unfortunate goals in the first one there, and but it happens. That's football, and that's kind of the moment we've been in now. So it's just kind of get out of that. Hopefully get a clean sheet and then get a goal forward, and that's 3 points, so that's a good way to start it.
Chris, you talked about clean sheet. One of the questions I was going to ask in training, has there been a focus to not cheaply give the ball away? I know Dreyer had one a couple of weeks ago. Jeppe got the ball kind of picked away from him, and it ended up resulting in goals for the other teams that kind of make it more difficult and give them a bunch of momentum early on.
Yeah, I think that's also our style of play, though. We want to play out of the back, and we want to really play that way, and it's going to happen in the season. I think it's just unfortunate now that we've been in this little kind of dip, or what do you call it, and then it happens then, it kind of makes it a little harder. So, we clean those things up, and I think the points will come again, so I'm not worried about that.
Is there a way to play with more command to avoid things like that happening, or what do you see that is going wrong in this time that's happening to you guys so many times?
I think it's very small details in the pitch, and like we're still looking at them, and it's like, okay, even though that happens, are we close enough to win the ball back if that happens? And small things like that make a big difference. And I think that's maybe just been a little bit off. So I think if we can go back to finding that and being close to each other, traveling together and all that stuff, then even if we do those mistakes, like it shouldn't matter too much because we'll be there to win it back. So that's our style of play, and that's how we're going to do, and we're going to get a lot of points from playing that way as well.
Was it one thing, the late goal against Portland, was it one thing or a chain of things that led to that?
Yeah, I think most of the game we actually dominate them pretty well and control the game very well. Then in the end of the game, I think we got away from it a little bit, and we started giving the ball away a little bit too easy, and they got a couple transition moments, so they got some momentum off that. And then again, I thought we defended them, and Yeah, I mean, they got the corner late, which, you know, they got a couple momentum from those last 5-10 minutes there where, yeah, we maybe weren't as clean as we should be. And yeah, they got a little bit of momentum from it, and then they got the late goal in. So, you know, it's also looking at ourselves like, how can we clean those last 10 minutes up to put a complete performance together? Because I think if we do that, then we should win that game a lot of times. So,
Marshall, SanDiego Sports 760. What message you have to Frontera SD? The next 5 games are at home in front of the home crowd. So we're gonna move forward in a positive direction in the main, keep April's record in the rearview mirror. So what message you have to Frontera SD?
Yeah, no, I think just keep supporting us. I mean, it's a long season, and we know how good we can be. So, yeah, just come out there with the energy, and we'll get some good results.
LAFC is obviously very good. They probably want some payback from last year, but could that actually exhibit what you guys kind of need? A game like that, if you can come out on top, it'll almost erase a lot of the last couple weeks. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like, hopefully we can get a good result with us, and that will, you know, get the momentum going, as we said here before. So, yeah, definitely, that's something we're shooting for.